Hey everybody, this is John from Oakland Socialist again, and I want to talk about an economics lesson that we can derive from the increase in the price of oil that's come about due to the war against Iran. And we're always told that increased wages cause higher prices. And Marx argued against that. And he explained it like this. He said, look, a price of a commodity is just a reflection of its value, which is to say, how much labor is necessary to produce that commodity, of its value compared to the value of some other commodity. So, if commodity A requires X number of hours of labor, and commodity B requires 2X numbers of hours of labor, then commodity B will be, everything else being equal, will cost twice as much as commodity A. And of course, with supply and demand, then those prices can fluctuate above and below their actual value compared to other commodities. So he explained, then he said, so let's look at it like this. Supposing the restaurant workers, let's say, supposing their wages go up. So the restaurant owners might try to increase their prices in order to compensate for their costs. So what would happen? The demand for people would eat out at restaurants less. Maybe they'd go to the movies more, or go on vacations more, or so on. Then competition would increase amongst the restaurant owners, and they'd have to lower their prices some. Now, supposing there was a general increase in wages for all workers right across the board, then what would happen? There would be an increased demand for the type of commodities that workers typically buy. And with that increased demand, the capitalists who produce those products, those commodities, the capitalists would raise their prices. But what would happen to the capitalists in the industries that produce the commodities that the capitalists buy? Let's say luxury cars, expensive diamond rings, and so on. There would be less demand for that, and as a result, the profits in producing those items would decrease relative to the profits in producing the items that the workers buy. So over time, capital would tend to flow towards the production of the necessities of the items that workers buy. There would be increased production there. Competition would go up, and therefore the prices would come back down. So that's how Marx explained that. And we can see with the increased price in oil, there's been no increase in wages. There hasn't really been an increase in costs. What it is, there's been a severe restriction in supply. And what's going to happen if this continued over time, which it won't one way or another, but just let's say if it did, there would be increased demand for solar power, for wind power, and so on, decreased demand for oil, everything else being equal. And then the price of oil would have to come back down again. That's how Marx explained this general process. And if you're interested in it, I strongly urge you to read the little piece of Karl Marx's called Wage, Value, Price, and Profit. This is John Ryman from Oakland Socialist.